We had this old lady ordering every day some Alabish chicken wings and 2 bottles of wine. Sometimes twice a day. She stopped ordering 5 months ago and we drove by her apartment and apparently she's not living there anymore. Hope in therapy, and not because she's dead. Her place wasn't that fucked up. But the smell of our wings still remind me of this sad human drinking herself to death slowly. GPS led me to my city's hospital. After getting directions from a lot of employees, I finally found the room, monsieur, I'll admit now. I really should have paid more attention to the signs, but was in rush and didn't bother. Luckily, there was a nurse already in this lady's room, monsieur. I was just going to walk in and drop food off when the nurse starts shaking her hands and rushes to me. No, 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 you can't come in here. This is isolation. Oh, I'm sorry. She ordered her delivery. She went back in the room and asked the lady if she ordered her delivery, and I heard the lady say yes. I overheard the nurse tell her, "You should have told me." Nurse comes back to me to grab food and told me if I had walked in the room I was not be let back out or something along those lines. Threw me for a loop, haha. I will pay more attention now. I promise. I delivered subs, but one of our regular clients was an old lady in a nursing home who thought it was 1940s or something. She was super nice, but nobody would deliver to her because she would only tip you like 25 cents because, again, she was living way in the past, but I loved to sit and talk with her, so I always volunteered to do it. Sometimes the nurses would pay the tip if they saw me, but usually I only got a quarter. Her delusional state was heartbreaking. She was completely lucid aside from not realizing what year it was. Drove for Domino's in college and had to deliver to a house in a bad part of town. There were no lights on at all outside. The grass looked like it hadn't been cut in months. I have to use my phone flashlight to find my way to the door. I knock and this elderly woman answers, wearing nothing but an oversized t-shirt. She had one eye that was good and one that was completely glazed over. She never said a word and kept eye contact with me the entire time that she fumbled through her wallet to give me exact change. Ugh. Meanwhile, inside there is a very large man and a little kid. They were both only wearing boxers, and the kid kept trying to run up to help the woman with the sodas and pizza, and the guy kept yelling to sit his ass down. All the while this woman is silent and staring into my soul. I wish I could say it was a one-time deal, but no. I delivered there a few more times after that and it was the exact same drill every time. Just felt like something from the Twilight Zone. Edit. About the whole calling the CPS issue. It honestly didn't cross my mind because all I saw is what I stated. Neither the woman nor the child had any sort of bruises, cuts, or markings to show there was physical abuse. The woman's eye seemed like it had been that way for a while, and it didn't strike me as a possible abuse injury at the time. I was an exhausted college student working the closing shift, and I was just trying to get in and get out so I could make more deliveries. The comments here did open my eyes to look more carefully at situations like this and to learn more about the CPS. Thanks everyone. IDK if this counts as fucked up, but it always makes me laugh when I think back to it. I delivered pizza to a house where an older guy walks out in a robe, sorta mumbling. I hand him the food, he hands me a 20. I tell him it's 24. He mumbles okay and waddles back into the house. Comes back and hands me another 20. I go to my pocket to get change and he slams the door on me. An imp. #X200B. I also once delivered to an older woman who tells me to come in the side door. The food is about $34 and she hands me what I think is 40 and is really sweet, asking me how I'm doing and all that. I get back into my car and realize it's actually $60 and 2 of the 20s were sorta stuck together. I go back into her house to let her know and she says, "Oh, I know. It's for gas and whatever else you might need." I always remember that lady because it was just such a random nice thing to do and really made my day. Used to deliver part-time in a not-so-nice part of town. Used to do a regular delivery to an adult bookstore. My 18-year-old mind was blown the first time I went in and saw all the sex toys and shit hanging on the walls. Another time I delivered to a room at a hot sheet motel. Dude opened the door and while he was counting out the money, I saw a naked hooker sit up in the bed behind him. Every hoarder house I ever delivered to. Honestly, I feel for those folks. There's usually a mental issue that starts it. Sometimes it's just learned behavior. Either way, it's still just sad to me. I was a delivery driver and was working a morning shift. Around 10:30 a.m. I got a delivery to an apartment. Everything seems legit since it's daytime and there are lots of people close by. I knocked on the door and after 30 seconds or so the door opened a few inches and the guy was behind the door, so I only saw his face. Still didn't think it was weird because people do that when they're trying to restrain a dog. He asked me to put the pizza on the stove behind him, and he moved back so I could see it was right behind him. I hesitated a second and decided not to do it. Told him I can't enter homes, but I don't mind waiting until he's ready to take the pizza. He asked again, said, "It's right there," so I gave the same answer. Really apologetic, but something wasn't feeling right. I realized later it was how quiet it was. Didn't sound like there was an excited dog back there. So he opened the door wide open and was completely naked. And this guy was at least 60 years old and like 6 feet tall. I tried to hand him the pizza and gave him the total, averting my eyes the whole time. He wouldn't give me the money. He kept asking me to repeat the total and moved into my line of vision. I just took a step back and looked straight up. Eventually he gave me $25 and I GTFO. Told everyone at the store. And for an $8 tip and a chance to deck the guy, all the boys that worked there hoped he would order again. The next day he did. When the driver got back, he said he had to wait at least 2 minutes, and when the guy answered, he was only wearing sweatpants. So he was sure he would do it again, to a girl driver. So the guy got blacklisted. I once delivered to a guy living under his porch, if that counts. I drove up to the house. It's pitch black. No lights on. I look at the ticket and it says, "Use back door." I go up the steps and no lights on. Nothing. Then I hear a voice from below me say, "Hey, down here." I look under the porch and there's a small door leading into what looked like a makeshift apartment. I had to actually crouch to get to it. Gave the guy the pizza and bounced the fuck out of there. I delivered to a drug house a few times. It was always obvious that these guys were selling, using, but it never bothered me as they usually tipped well. This one time I got there, rang the bell, and a baggie of, I'm guessing coke or heroin, I have no idea, slipped under the door. Not sure what to do, I decided to kick it back under the door and leave. Not super fucked up, but I think about it a lot.